Oh man, I'm tripping big time. There we go. All right, what's going on, family? Great rising. Great rising. Y'all share this video. Y'all share this video. So this is what I'm gonna do. Because what I really wanted to do was I just wanted to go off the dome, but I'm a little sleepy, to be honest with y'all. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull up this article and we're gonna talk about this. Yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, I had posted about the pink pineapples, and I was asking people, did they, ever have it? Me myself, I never had it, and I was interested. So the first thing came to my mind is, how do they get pink? And a great friend of mine, Sheila was like, "Oh, you talking about those genetically modified ones for $50?" And I was like, "Damn, okay, I never knew this." So she put me up on game, and I value her opinions on things because she a researcher like myself, and she liked the type of information. So I find out that the reason why the pineapple is pink is because of a certain enzyme, right? It's called lycopene. But I didn't really understand how this lycopene came to existence, like how, like the whole, transition. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna read you guys an article which pretty much explains everything. Like, I was reading and I was researching a lot of things, and then when I came across this article, I was like, okay, yeah, this is the one right here. It pretty much breaks it down. It breaks it down in detail. But anyway, before we do that, man, listen, y'all take advantage of the sale, man. alkalineenvironment.com. You see it at the bottom. We still got the herbs off for 50%. As soon as you go on there, like I say, the link is going to pop up in your face with the Bail Bar CD8 Plus with Moringa capsules, 120, 30-day supply. You take 2 or 3 in the AM, 3 in the PM, with or without water, and they're going to give you all your sustenance, man. It's very nutritional dense, so, you're going to get it all, whether it's something you're dealing with energy levels, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. If you know somebody who has had a stroke or heart attack, you need some fiber in your diet. I mean, you name it. You need some chlorophyll, right? You name it, it got it. So natural sugars, pretty much 2 supplements or two foods that come from the earth, man. It don't get no better than that. We get our products, these products in particular, from Africa, Ghana to be exact. So we dealing with the motherland. So we got the sea moss and bladderwrack capsules. They got a small percentage off. And we also got our sea moss gels, right? The sea moss gel only, and with the bladderwrack. Let me talk a little bit about the bladderwrack, because a lot of people have been sleeping on the sea moss and bladderwrack. I see a lot of people don't gravitate towards it. And I think that's because people just kind of went with like what others been saying, okay, about sea moss, and not really what everything really stemmed from. People are not really going to the source, not going to the root. The reason why we at Alkaline Environment chose to do the sea moss and bladderwrack and clove with nothing else is because we keep it the same way Dr. Sebi did. When you start when you started adding and mixing all these different things like elderberry, fruits and stuff like that, that's a lot of sugar. You see what I'm saying? And you don't want to mix too many things up with something that comes from the sea. You don't want to do that because it kind of dilutes it a little bit, and it takes away from its nutritional value, like its properties, right? So you just keep it alone, keep it by itself, and then you add it to your teas. You could do the smoothies, you could do that, but when you add it to your teas, to me, that's the most efficient to me, okay? Because you want it to be at that warm state to where it can break down easily in the body, and it can get to the system, and it can do what it do. So the sea moss and bladderwrack with the clove is very good because the bladderwrack helps with the metabolism. It helps further advance or further promote, right, the thyroid gland. So it's good for that. And then when it comes to the brain development and things of that nature, is also good for that. So if you're on it, let's say in small amounts, right, while you're nursing and stuff like that, it's cool. It's just when you mix the two together, it's a little too potent, and you don't want that. But nevertheless, it's still good for your bones. Nevertheless, it's still good for so many different other things, especially for like radiation and things of that nature. So that's the reason why I wear these hat. I mean, these I said hat. That's the reason why I wear these glasses that help. But anyways, so alkalinenvironment.com, y'all take advantage of the sales. Get your sea moss and bladderwrack capsules, 120, 30-day supply. You take 2 in the AM, 2 in the PM with water, with food. The Baobab CD8 Plus with Moringa, take 2 in the AM, 2 in the PM with water, with food or without food with those. And the sea moss gels, add it to your teas, smoothie, protein, shake, juices, so forth and so on. Or if you can thug it out, you can take it by mouth, right? And make sure you wash it down with some water. So take advantage of that. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, right? I'm gonna minimize myself, and I'm a little sleepy, but I want to do this video. Y'all share this video, please. If y'all got any questions, y'all can go ahead and write them in the comments so I can go ahead and look at them and answer them if I can. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. And we're gonna talk about this. Okay. So today, I am going to get my pink pineapple, right? Then I had a few other people who reached out to me that was interested in the pink pineapple as well. So, a couple of people, when I give you guys a call, y'all be on point. Okay, be on point with the cash apps or whatever like that, because these things are not, these fruits, should I say, are not cheap. Now, you have a company called Del Monte, right? People know about Del Monte. Del Monte, they sell theirs for like $50 or something like that, $40 or something like that. And I don't really, I don't subscribe to that. I really don't. And I understand it. I understand the reason why. However, my Connect is not going to sell it to me for that price, so I won't sell it to you guys for that price. All right. So yeah, they they tax it. It's a little pricey, and the reason why it's explained in this article. But one of the reasons why is because it's very rare, and they take like 2 years to grow. Okay. Now, when it comes to this conversation of GMO or genetically modification, this is the point I want to drive home, and the article pretty much does it too. So let me just talk a little bit before I read. You gotta understand something, and this is things that I'm constantly understanding as I continue to do my research on certain topics, right? On certain things that affect us right now in this present time, whether we know about it or not. When it comes to genetically modification, it can mean so many different things. Now, scientists, they do things for desirable traits, right? I mean, it is what it is. Like I know we want to say like, hey, they shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, but the day and age that we live in now, the way the planet is, it's like it's tough. It's tough because you got a lot of things going into extinction, like animals, right? Plants, fruits, you name it. A lot of things are going extinct, and that's because of the global warming. That's because of all these different things like weather modification and stuff like that. So farmers, like they sometimes they get the shit end of the stick, right? They be assed out. So you have to. It's crazy though. It's a very sensitive topic to me, at least, but it is what it is. So I'm always open-minded to things of that nature, to things like that, because I don't want to be closed-minded and it could be something. But anyways, let me get to the point. So the point is that genetic modification is done for different reasons, okay? So right here it says desirable traits include resistance to pests or non-browning produce, right? So here's the thing. So when it comes to like corn, when it comes to soy, I have a big problem with corn and soy being genetically modified. Why? Because not only is it 92 to 96% percent genetically modified, meaning that almost all your corn and all your soy in the world is genetically modified, is fed to the livestock, right? It's fed to the animals, it's fed to the cows, fed to the chickens and things of that nature. Like it's fed to them. And this is primarily the food that we eat, right? Now that's not even alongside with or should I, if I was to add in everything else that's done to the animals, like it gets crazy. So corn and soy is genetically modified, right, to be resistant to what? Pesticide, insecticide, herbicide. Okay, meaning that in other cases, like if you got land where you grow these crops, right, corn and soy and things of that nature, you can spray as much pesticide, as much herbicide, insecticide as you want, and it will kill everything else that's in competition with this plant, except this plant, except this corn, except this soy, right? So that has to get you thinking, like, okay, where the residue of this stuff, like, where is it going? Yes, it's going to be in the corn. It's going to be in the soy. Like it has no other choice. Right. And then they have where they actually have the seeds that's already has its built-in insecticide, herbicide, and pesticide. So it's already in the seed itself. So it produces its own toxin, right? To be able to again compete and kill off anything in competition with it. So that right there is a big problem. That's a big red flag for me, because then I'm looking at this food and I'm saying, yo, this food must be toxic. It must be toxic. But then I think about, other things like maybe our stomach acid, gets rid of it and things of that nature. Maybe it doesn't. But I mean, it gets deep with this conversation. But this right here is a little different. And this is the point I want to drive home. When it comes to the pink pineapple, the genetic modification is a little different, right? It's a little different because you don't have scientists doing gene splicing. Okay, they're not gene splicing, meaning that they're not taking one gene from one organism, right, and then splicing it into another organism. Like I made the example the other day when I was talking about what they did with the tomato. The tomato was one of the first vegetables or fruit, whichever one you want to, term it, to be genetically modified. And what they did was they took the anti-freezing gene out of a fish called the Arctic flounder, and they took that gene and then they spliced it into the tomato. Why? Because farmers will have a hard time growing tomatoes in a certain climate, primarily cold, without the cold freezing the tomato. They'll come to their farms and the tomatoes are all frozen and you can't do nothing with it. So they tried to see if they can take a gene from this Arctic flounder fish that has this anti-freeze gene or protein, right? And they spliced it inside the tomato, see if, to see if it will help the tomato not freeze, which it did, but it changed the chemistry of the tomato. So it changed the taste, the flavor, and things of that nature. And they was like, nah, we can't do nothing with this. We got to get rid of this. So that's an example of genetic modification on its gene splicing, right, aspect, and its gene splicing aspect. So you have different again, you have different reasons and different ways they go about this. So the pink pineapple is modified to an extent to where, like, scientists are pretty much, they're toning down things, right? They're looking at the genes, they're looking at the enzymes, and they're saying, oh, okay, well, this is the reason why this pineapple, produced this color more so than this color, because this enzyme is higher than this enzyme. All right, so it has a lot to do with pigmentations. Mostly that's basically what it is. But anyways, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read this article and I'm gonna let you guys decide on it. I'm gonna let you guys decide on it if you feel like just because it is genetically engineered, which That's what it is. Going back to the topic, right? Yes, it's genetically engineered, but to to what extent is really the bigger picture. So it's a what the fruit is a pink pineapple. So pink pineapples are genetically modified fruit that stay pink, okay, and sweeter than yellow pineapples. GMOs or genetically modified organisms are crops produced using a precise method of plant breeding to achieve desirable traits. Desirable traits include resistant to pests or non-browning produce. That's another one I have a problem with. I don't want to have a fruit that doesn't brown. If it doesn't brown, then how would I know it's any good? That's that. I definitely don't subscribe to that. So it's a desirable traits include resistant to pests or non-browning produce to reduce food waste. That's not good. Let it go back to nature. In this case, the desirable traits of the pink pineapples include sweetness and its deep pink color. All right. It's a little different. So why GMO pink pineapples a thing? Food and agriculture companies are always researching new ways to produce crops that have environmental and consumer benefits. Del Monte, right, created the rose pineapple, a genetically modified pink pineapple fruit to introduce a new exciting produce. They're also sweeter, so pineapple fans can enjoy an even more delicious variety of their favorite fruit. Now it's patent, like I say, so nobody else can't do this. If you get caught, yeah, it's going to jail. You might get a huge fine. The patent for the pink glow rose pineapple states that the main objective, right, of this intervention was to produce a unique and differentiate variety of pineapple, or differentiated. I'm sorry, differentiated variety of pineapple. There's no telling how much interest in pineapples this new fruit would generate. What makes a pineapple pink? So this is the point, right? This is the one. This is it right here. Okay. So I want y'all to open your minds and listen. So scientists, yes, scientists turn pineapples pink by changing a small enzyme that controls the color of the fruit's flesh. I'm gonna say that again because I don't want y'all to miss that. That's very important. It says scientists turned pineapples pink by changing a small enzyme that controls the color of the fruit's flesh. So it's basically telling you in this small sentence right here, in this small sentence, that the pineapple is already pink. In its immature stage, is already pink. Okay. An enzyme is a substance that creates a specific biochemical reaction. In this instance, typical yellow pineapples have high levels of enzymes that change the pink pigment called lycopene, right, into a yellow pigment called beta carotene. You see that? So I'm gonna read that part again because I don't want you guys to miss this part. So again, like I said about the tomato, or even the corn and the soy, we dealing with two different things. The corn and the soy, right, has its own insecticide, right? Its own built-in insecticide, its herbicide, right, and its pesticide. It's in it, right? So we dealing with something totally different. We dealing with a high level of toxicity, right? And then with the tomato was gene spliced, taking a gene from an Arctic flounder fish, right, and splicing it and inserting it into the tomato so that way it won't freeze. So we dealing with two different things right there. But see, with the pineapple is a little different. So it's an enzyme An enzyme is a substance that creates a specific biochemical reaction. In this instance, typical yellow pineapples have high levels of enzymes that change the pink pigment called lycopene into a yellow pigment called beta-carotene. To make the pineapple pink, scientists reduce that particular enzyme so the pineapple stays pink instead of turning yellow. Very important. That means it already has this yellow pigmentation in it. It's not like they did anything, right? They didn't do anything, right? To a certain extent. But I guess, all right, because later down in the article, you're gonna see what else they did. But what I think what happens is that in this mature stage, as the pineapple is growing, it has this pink color in it, right? But I think the pink is very mellow, like it's very, very, like it's a dull pink. It's not a bright pink, right? And the article is going to explain exactly what I'm saying. But in its natural essence, is basically what I'm saying, that the pineapple is already pink, right? It just, the enzymes are a little higher, right? Certain enzymes are a little higher that gives it a different color. But anyways, so let's move forward. So to make the pineapple pink, scientists reduce that particular enzyme so the pineapple stays pink instead of turning yellow, okay? So we're dealing with lycopene and we're dealing with beta-carotene. These are two different enzymes. So anytime you look when you see food, when you look at food, you see this E on the end, E, that's denoted to an enzyme, okay? And enzymes are catalysts to protein. They have different, again, biochemical reactions that take place inside the fruit, vegetable, whatever it is. It's a part of nature, right? So beta-carotene might sound familiar. This yellow, very important, this yellow and orange pigment is also found in carrots and other colorful vegetables, okay? So when you see the carrots, when you see, let's say squash, right? When you see these type of vegetables, the first thing come to your mind, oh, okay, it got a high level. The first thing should come to your mind is that it has a high level of beta-carotene. That's a specific enzyme, right? So lycopene is the same pigment that turns tomatoes red and watermelons pink. Or, watermelons ain't really pink, but you know what they're trying to say. Pigments are like the edible dyes of the plant world. The higher the concentration, the darker the color. So that's what we're dealing with. So when you see tomatoes, right? When you see, watermelon, you see these red colors and stuff like that. That means it has that fruit has a high level of lycopene. So when you see the yellow, right, that means that fruit, more than likely, or that vegetable has a high level of the beta-carotene. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with what has more of what. Whether this fruit has a higher level of the beta-carotene, or if this fruit has, or this vegetable has a high level of the lycopene, right? So the scientists understood this, and they identified that, and they said, okay, we got something here. So because these pigments are only at the inside, in the inside flesh of the fruit, there is no impact on the exterior skin of the pink pineapples. So if you see any pictures of pineapples with pink skin on the outside instead of brown or tan, you're most likely looking at a bad Photoshop. Then they were just being sarcastic, funny right there. Y'all share this video. Are pink pineapples safe to eat? The pink pineapple plant is just as safe and nutritious, right, as its conventional counterpart. That's because the genetic modification only changes 3 genes in the pineapple. Now, I know y'all probably saying, like, changing genes, like, man, that's crazy. I don't want to, but I'm telling you, you got to be open-minded to this stuff, because majority of the things that you eat are genetically modified. Like, let's be real. Like, we try to do our best. Those who are in the know and those who care about things like this try to do their best, right, to avoid genetically modification. But bruh, if you don't have your own garden, you don't have your own land with some acres, and you got, you know, wild fruit growing or whatever it is growing, and hey, everybody rolling dice. Okay, very important to understand. That's just the world we live in right now. So that's why when you hear people say, "Man, you need to grow your own food," that's what they're talking about. You just don't know what's going on. So again, let me read that part again. So the pink pineapple plant is just as safe and nutritious as its conventional counterpart. That's because the genetic modification only changed 3 genes in the pineapples, none of which affect the safety or nutrition of the fruit. Okay. The researchers started with the Del Monte gold pineapple, using this as the parent fruit. Okay. They continue. Watch this now. This is where hybridization come in. So when you hear hybrid, oh, that's a hybrid. That's a hybrid. Guess what? The pineapple has a little bit of everything. It's a little hybridization going on. It's a little genetic modification going on. It's a little bit of everything going on. Like it gets crazy when you really do the research and start reading and stuff. So the researchers started with the Del Monte gold pineapple, using this as the parent fruit. They continue to breed, right? They continue to breed, right? They continue to breed, mates, sets, right? And select the fruits with pinker flesh on the inside. Okay. So that's what they did. They breeded the pineapple with other fruits. Okay. That's not scientists. Scientists don't do that. Scientists don't do that. That's farmers, right? That's farmers. They do that. Okay. They breed. That's the difference between hybridization or hybrid and genetically modification, right? So researchers then use genes from other pineapples and tangerines to do what? To suppress the expression of the carotenoid. I mean, the carotene, right? That's what they did. So more lycopene builds up in the pineapple's interior flesh. You get it? So being that pineapples naturally have this yellow color, which is the beta carotene, which gives life or gives color, the yellow color to the pineapple, is high. It's high levels of that beta carotene, right? The enzymes are very high. So you got to find ways to, tone it down, to reduce it. So you can't just say, well, I'm gonna just add lycopene and that to do the trick. No, you have to breed the pineapple with other fruits that got the pink flesh. Take genes from other, like you gotta, do what you need to do. Okay. So at the same time, again, it's not like the soy. It's not like the corn, because those are sprayed, right? Or they already have their built-in insecticide, pesticide, herbicide. They already have these chemicals inside of them, right? That makes them resistant, right? That's the problem I have with that, because if you're telling me that you can come and spray atrazine, right? You can spray, what's the other one I'm looking for? All these different chemicals that they use, right? If you can spray this and it kills everything else but that actual soy plant or that corn plant, right? Then that's a problem, because I know that this insecticide, this herbicide, right? I know that this atrazine, I know this is getting inside that actual plant. And then if you give me some genetically modified seeds that already has its own built-in resistance, then I know that's toxic to me. But with the pineapples, if you breed a couple of different fruits, right? Like they say, they continue to breed and select the fruits with pinker flesh on the inside, right? Researchers then use genes from other pineapples, not like the tomato going to get a gene from a damn fish. That's crazy. So they kept it, they did it in a very precise way. Researchers then use genes from other pineapples and tangerines. What do they share in common? That they're all fruits, right? They're all part of the plant kingdom, right? To suppress. So that's all it is. It's like, yo, it's no different than paint, right? When we want a certain color, we know we gotta mix certain colors together. It's the same thing. So that's why I don't look at it in such a bad way, right? But again, I'm gonna leave it to y'all. I'm gonna leave it to y'all. You feel me? To to figure it out. I'm just presenting the information. I'm just bringing forward the information. I'm the messenger. So researchers then use genes from other pineapples and tangerines to suppress the expression of the carotenoid, right, or the carotene. So more lycopene builds up in the pineapple's interior flesh. Lycopene is a red pigment, right, which is why the buildup of this substance results in a pink pineapple. Okay, so it's what gives that red color to the tomato, right? But you have to kind of do, you got to tweak it a little bit. You got to bring other fruits in, bring other genes in to get this color to be what you want it to be. Again, it's always about desirable traits. It's no different than Burger King, McDonald's and stuff. Bro, how many times they come out with a new burger? It's nothing new about the shit. It's just they put a little, you feel me, a twist to it. That's it. And it's to get you to buy it, right? To sell it. It's the same thing. So, people always trying to come up with different ways of doing things to grasp the people's attention. Like if you see a bright red or a bright pink pineapple, yo, you're gonna be like, yo, I want this. It's no different than, with the grapes, the cotton candy grapes, the same thing. Oh, yo, I want this. Yeah, let me get them. Those look interesting. And then if they got a different taste and you're gonna actually think that's a different fruit. You're gonna be like, nah, that's a grape, but it's not a grape. If you understand what I'm saying, because it tastes different. You feel me? It looks different. It feels different. So, that's just the way this shit is out here. So again, if you don't like all that, you're not, hey, you gotta grow your own food. I do my best to stay within the confinements of, what I feel is safe, right? So my diet is very small list. I don't eat certain things, and that's just what it is. So where was I? Okay. So more lycopene builds up in the pineapple's interior flesh. Lycopene is a red pigment, which is why the buildup of this substance results in a pink pineapple. These genes were derived, okay? These genes were derived from safe and edible plants. All right, we ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing too crazy. You feel me? They're not getting the genes from a pig or some shit, right? They're not going to a flamingo. Okay, they're not going to a flamingo to get no goddamn pink from them, to get no gene. They not doing that. However, they are using the same type of genes that make the flamingo pink, but they're not getting it from them. They stand within the plant kingdom. Okay. So these genes were derived from safe and edible plants and are still safe and edible when expressed in the pink pineapple. Scientists also made two minor changes: the plant skin and growth cycle. Okay, so this may get a little controversial, but I get it. So the exterior shell of the plant was slightly modified to have a unique pattern. So when you look at, your normal pineapple, right, and then you line it up next to the pink pineapple, you can see the skin, right? The skin pattern, you're gonna see the skin pattern is a little different, right? You'll see that. So that's one of the things that they changed up. Okay. Now again, I get it. I know we kind of playing with nature. We playing with the creator, playing with God a little bit. But I mean, it's ways to go about it, right? You can demonize the process, right? Or you can enhance or just go at least safe as possible you can with the process. So the exterior shell of the plant was slightly modified to have a unique pattern. Lastly, researchers modified a gene that controls the pineapple's growth cycle. That change will help provide a more uniform and higher quality crop. Now, the reason why I feel like they do that is because, again, this pineapple takes 2 years to grow. It takes 2 years to grow. So, you want it to grow uh, efficient, right? Efficient. That's the only word I can really think of, right? Um, what else I was gonna say? Damn, it came and went. It came and went. So, I mean, that's just what that is. That's just what that is. So, I mean, you can take it however you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Oh yeah, and also when you get this fruit, it's not gonna have its crown. Why? Because that's the part that they use to grow, right? So, being that it's patent and it only grows in Costa Rica, they can't give you that crown. So when you get it, you're not gonna have that crown because they don't need you stealing their shit. So you get the pineapple. Hey, it's not leaving Costa Rica without that crown on it. And that's just the way it is because they have to put it back in the ground and start the whole process all over again, right? And it takes 2 years. So I think the reason for the price is because it's very rare. It takes a long time to grow. But I think that's just the reason for the price being high in regards to getting them from a connect. Del Monte is a company, right? It's an industry, right? So they have to they put their dollar on top of it, and that's just what it is. So one of these from Del Monte, if you can find them, it's gonna cost you $50, $40 off rip. I don't think it goes no lower than $30 just for one, and that's because they're putting their love. You feel me? Like I don't know what the business side of it is. I really don't, but I know for a fact that somebody else is getting paid. Like it's tied in with somebody else, right? So again, I'm fortunate enough to really talk to people and reach out to people and just build rapport with people. And I don't know, man. That's just one of my gifts, I guess. But anyways, so when did pink pineapples hit our shelves? And this is it. This is the end of the article, okay? I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. It's 38 minutes. All right. The pink glow pineapple hit the shelves in the United States in the late 2020, right? As we all Okay. As with all genetically modified GM foods, the fruit has been on a long regulatory journey. Pink pineapples have been thoroughly researched, right, for human and environmental safety. They got to go through the protocols. That's just what it is. Del Monte first began developing the genetically modified pink pineapple in 2005. And I know that word just carries a very scary connotation, right? When you hear genetically modified, you're like, yo, what the fuck? I'm still the same way, but I understand it now a little bit more. And I'm basically giving you, like, I'm giving you guys what I had to take. Like, I had to read to understand this stuff. But they basically laid it out. They gave you the foundation of it. They let you know basically, like, when it comes to food, we genetically modify food for certain reasons. So, in other words, doesn't mean that genetically modification is all bad. It doesn't mean it's all bad, but it doesn't denote to the fact that it's all good either, right? So it's up to you to decide whether or not you feel like, oh, this is not safe. I'm not dealing with it, right? Or okay, I get it. So this is where I'm at with the pink pineapple. I'm like, all right, so it's already pink in its nature. It's just that the lycopene, or I'm sorry, the beta carotene is higher, okay, inside the pineapple, which gives it its yellow color. So it overrides the lycopene. So it's already yellow. I mean, it's already pink, right, in its immature stage, in its growing stages. But when it becomes fully grown, fully immature, the beta carotene, the enzymes, those enzymes kick in higher than the lycopene enzymes, and that's what gives it its yellow color. So I'm okay with that. So I said, okay, well, what else they did? So, okay, so they went and took genes from other pineapples, other fruits, still in that kingdom, right? Still in that same, you feel me? So they took them and then they breeded other fruits together that had this pink flesh because they did not only want to get a pink color, but they wanted to be very appealing because you know how he is, right? We respond off of colors very well. So they got these fruits, breeding them together so they could get this unique pink, okay? And then they toned down that gene, right, that expresses the yellow, which is again the beta carotene, so that way it can give birth, right, or it can enhance the lycopene, right? So it like, so when I hear stuff like that, I say to myself, all right. And then I'm like, okay, I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for something that this sparks this red flag, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. So of course, my first response to it when I seen genetically modification uh, by the Queen Miss Sheila, I seen that and I was like, yo, and then I had somebody else was like, yo, stay away from hybrids. But I had to break that down. Like, we come on, we gotta do better, right? So and that's including me as well, right? We all gotta do better. So we just can't take one thing and run with it. We can't. And don't like always like fact check the person who's putting it out there, right? Research the research, right? Or research the researcher. Always do your due diligence by that way, right? So, anyways, moving forward. So I'm breaking all this stuff down in my mind, and I'm like, all right, we ain't really dealing with too much, you know, severity on the negative side of things. I really don't think it's negative at all, right? To me, you know, if it's further research out there, if anybody, you know, feel free to share with me, right? To change my mind. But that is what it is. So Del Monte first began developing the genetically modified pink pineapple in 2005. Pink pineapples were researched and are grown in Costa Rica. The Costa Rican government first approved the planting of pink pineapples in 2011. I'm giving y'all history, right? Giving y'all sources, right? Giving y'all the root. I'm giving y'all this information where it started from. Genetically modified crops take years of research, testing, and development. This ensures they're safe for human consumption. Now, with that part, that's true, okay? But when they start leaving it in the hands of these companies and stuff like that, a lot of things are not done the way it's supposed to be done, okay? And that's definitely in the case of certain things like when I was doing the video about the milk, that was one of them. Like, it was a lot of things that they did that went against the normal protocols of the research, testing, and development, right? Like, oh man, when they want something approved, they're gonna do what they need to do to get it approved. Okay. But they're not going that far with the pineapple. They just not. But when it came to that milk, right? When it came to that bovine growth hormone, right? The RBG, the like when it came to that, it got a little crazy. So this ensures they're safe for human consumption in the environment. At this time, Del Monte has only pursued, right, regulations and approvals for pink pineapples in the United States and Costa Rica, right? In 2012, Del Monte submitted a request to the United States Department of Agriculture right, to test and import the rose pineapple from Costa Rica to the United States. And I think that's probably another reason why. Also, the USDA approved this request in 2013. The USDA was not concerned about pink pineapples' impact on the environment. Pineapples have a hard time growing anyways without help of humans, so it's unlikely they will spread on their own. Most recently, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) evaluated Del Monte pineapples in 2016. They determined that pink pineapples are safe and nutritious as their conventional counterparts. This consultation with the FDA wasn't required. Instead, it was a voluntary activity to assure consumers that this new fruit is safe and nutritious. So it's little stuff like that that you may see. It's little stuff that you may see. Maybe sometimes they don't go through the whole entire protocol, but nevertheless, they do enough. They do enough. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen. Let me get you up out of there. Alrighty, get me back. I got $5. Yep, GMO gonna be necessary with increasing population. I agree, man. I agree. It's been around for a little minute, since the 90s. Matter of fact, since the 80s. I'm sorry. That has drove things such as a growing chicken in 4 weeks. see again. That's a whole different. That's a whole different ball game. But that's mostly steroids, right? That's growth hormones. That's a little different. That's growth hormones, right? I want one. Yo, boy, okay, 30 motherfuckers. I didn't even know y'all were tuning in like that because I had the screen blocking the comments. I ain't even know. But yeah, so yeah. They not cheap. They're not cheap, man. It's just what it is. But I just wanted to come on here and share that with y'all. If anybody had concerns about whether the pink pineapple, the pink pineapple was natural or whatnot. Again, it is. It's just a little modification taking place. And that's with a lot of fruits, man. A lot of fruits start off one color, and by the time they fully mature, they're another color. Okay, we see it all the time with mangoes, even though that's on the outside of the flesh, but also the inside too. I'm tripping. You see a mango is green, everything green, but when as it grows and it get fully matured, it turns to that yellow, or it turns into that orange, right, or that red, right, and then the flesh on the inside, what it is yellow or orange, right? And that's because the beta carotene. That's just what it is. It has more enzymes than, you feel me? That pigment. It got more of that pigment than the other pigments, or more enzymes than the other enzyme, right? So that's the pigment that you see, and that's just what it is. It's just that they wanted to make it more appealing, right, and really get bump up that lycopene and to get it that color, right? So they had to do what they had to do. But like I say, it's different from the soy, it's different from the corn, it's different from the cotton, right? It's different from the sugar, it's different from these genetically modified products or foods. It's different. So that's why it don't really do anything. Like it don't, like I say, it don't raise a red flag for me. That's just what it is. So if y'all want one, inbox me, hit me up. I'll be heading to the man. And matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna be pulling up on him in a little minute. Yeah, I'll be pulling up on him in a little minute. So I appreciate everybody who chimed in, share this video. You know, people may be interested in it. I don't know. Share the video. But yeah, again, y'all take advantage of the sale, man. Got the sale off on the CMOS gel, the CMOS and bladder rat capsules. We still got the Bail Ball CD8 Plus going hard on Amazon. Y'all take advantage of that, man. Until next time, I'm out, family.